Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, July 6, 2017. The fire potential impacts continue to be the increasing coverage of generally dry thunderstorms across the Great Basin today through Saturday. These dry thunderstorms are expected to remain limited to Utah and Nevada today and spreading further northward into central Idaho for the Friday to Saturday timeframe. Thunderstorms will continue Sunday into the first part of next week, but will probably be moistening up by then and may contribute to a gradual decrease in fire potential, especially across the south. Isolated thunderstorms were observed over Utah and Nevada, with more scattered thunderstorms over northeast Idaho and western Wyoming. New initial attack was observed across much of the Great Basin yesterday, with a few larger fires popping up. 2 team fires remain in place, one over western Nevada and over southern Utah. The past 14 days have been very dry across the area, with little to no precipitation observed anywhere, except for light amounts over the east central Idaho mountains and western Wyoming. This has contributed to extreme fire danger conditions, especially over central and southern Utah and southern Nevada. Many of these sites are over the 97th percentile, and some of them are making new historical records for the time of year. One example is across southwest Utah, where the red line shows the records made in 2012 and the green line shows current year. By this time in 2012, the monsoons had already come in and had decreased fire potential significantly across the south. Right now we're still on the increase in terms of fire danger, and will probably still increase for the next few days before some deeper moisture moves in by the weekend and early into next week. Light fuel moisture conditions vary across the Great Basin. In some areas they're near normal, including portions of western and northern Nevada. Across southern Idaho, sagebrush live fuel moistures are still above normal for many sites. And over Utah, particularly western and southern Utah, those sagebrush live fuel moistures have decreased rapidly over the past 2 to 3 weeks, and in many areas are approaching the historical minimums. This morning's satellite imagery shows that very large area of high pressure centered over the Four Corners area. This is a traditional Four Corners high, bringing some monsoonal moisture up around the periphery of that high into portions of the Great Basin. This high pressure will remain the dominant feature into early next week. Very little moisture is working its way up through the high pressure right now. That's why we're just seeing the isolated dry thunderstorm expected for the next few days. High-risk triggers have been issued for much of Nevada and northwest Utah for these isolated dry thunderstorms this afternoon. Winds will be fairly light across the Great Basin, however, under the influence of that high pressure, except in the vicinity of these thunderstorms, where gusty outflow winds are expected anywhere to 30 to 45 miles an hour possible. The image on the right shows areas where we could expect to see maybe some light precipitation out of any of these storms, more generally just showing the coverage of where the storms may occur. The best chance for some storms this afternoon will be over the higher elevations of western Nevada, a pocket over northeast Nevada and up into portions of southern Idaho, and possibly the higher elevations of central Utah once again. By tomorrow, a little bit more moisture will flow into the Great Basin and produce a little bit more widespread lightning coverage as some instability increases as well. So high-risk triggers have been issued for much of Nevada, much of Utah, and even up into southwest Idaho for Friday. Again, these storms are expected to be on the dry side for the most part, and we do expect to see some increased fire activity. Winds remain light, once again, except in the vicinity of these thunderstorms. And the image on the right shows the best coverage for some of those storms, which is an increase from today, especially over portions of Utah and up into southern Idaho. On Saturday, more of the same is expected as the center of the high pressure moves slightly to the west. This will allow more moisture to spread up into the Great Basin. High-risk triggers once again have been issued for much of Utah and Nevada. And the deep moisture still remains to the south, so any thunderstorms that do pop up will be on the dry side with maybe some localized precipitation amounts. Continued light winds on Saturday, with the image on the right showing the aerial coverage of some of those storms increasing from Thursday to Friday and from Friday to Saturday. Precipitation accumulations for the next 3 days is expected to be very light and really just focused over the higher elevations of Utah up into western Wyoming and eastern Idaho. and maybe some accumulations over the Nevada-Idaho border. By Sunday, the center of the high moves a little bit further westward and northward, and this will allow possibly some deeper moisture to begin to move into southern Great Basin. Begin to see our dryness levels decreasing somewhat across the south and east, and should see our ERCs begin to come down. By Monday, that deeper moisture continues to move northward, and we'll continue to see dryness levels decreasing and the fire risk decreasing somewhat. And by Tuesday, more of the same is expected. By day 3 of some wetter storms, we'll really begin to see some of those fire danger indices dropping. By Wednesday, we could begin to see some drier air moving into the western and northern portions of the Great Basin, but some of that moisture sticks around in the eastern half of the area. Precipitation accumulations for the next 7 days are shown here, with the deepest moisture remaining over Utah and up into western Wyoming, but we could see these values increase over the next few days as we are expecting some deeper moisture to move into Nevada as well. The extended forecast from the Climate Prediction Center moving into the middle of July is calling for continued above normal temperatures over the Great Basin, with a bullseye over the northern Rockies, with below normal precipitation across the northwest, and finally seeing an above normal trend over Utah and the southwest as that monsoon gets underway. This concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.